Good evening and thanks for being here tonight. I'm Regina On. Well, new information now. The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office has announced a crackdown on drunk drivers as DUI numbers are on the rise in 2021. So are we seeing something similar in Eastern Washington? KREM 2's Joshua Robinson investigates the early numbers surrounding DUIs so far this year.
DUIs in Kootenai County are up in April and by no small amount. As first reported by our partners in the Coeur d'Alene Post Falls Press, Kootenai County confirmed there have been 76 DUI arrests through April of this year. That's up about 25% compared to this time last year.
It's quite an uptick in DUI arrests. You know, I don't know what the contributing factors of that are. You know, you can speculate that people are not working as much, and so they're out maybe partaking in the bars a little bit more than they have in the past.
Lieutenant Ryan Higgins says it could also be other factors like warmer weather. But what's not speculation is that deputies are being more proactive when it comes to stopping drunken driving this year.
We all are. All law enforcement partners are looking for DUIs, and I would say that's the same in Washington as well.
We reached out to Mark Gregory with the Spokane County Sheriff's Office, and he says right now there are no immediate signs of an uptick in Eastern Washington DUIs so far this year. But he does say the county is aware that drunken drivers are out on the roadways, something he definitely says needs to stop and stop now. A similar sentiment to Higgins' warning to potential drunken drivers across state line.
I think the word needs to be out that we're actively looking for DUIs and that there's zero tolerance for DUIs and they'll be charged.
Data from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration shows DUI numbers back in 2019 were on the decline before the pandemic-stricken 2020 saw those numbers climb once again. And we can all expect a heavy-handed approach to DUIs to continue this year. Because the average cost of a first-time DUI, Higgins says, is between $5,000 and $15,000, and it only goes up for repeat offenders. But Higgins and Gregory both tell me there is no cost that justifies a potentially fatal mistake that could come from driving drunk. Joshua Robinson, KREM 2 News.
Well, the man suspected of shooting and killing a woman following a road rage incident over the weekend says he did it in self-defense. 29-year-old Richard Huff appeared in court today for a second-degree murder charge. He told our Manaroli this from behind bars today. He's currently in Spokane County Jail on a $750,000 bond, according to court documents. The suspect's mother was driving him and his brother to their sister's house in North Spokane. On their way, he says another car cut them off and ran a stop sign ahead. Court documents say the suspect's mother followed them, attempting to get their license plate, and eventually the person who was driving with the victim pulled over. That's when the woman got out of her car and confronted the suspect. Huff says the woman threatened to cut him and reach for what he thought was a knife from her near her chest.
What made you believe she had a knife?
She pulled it.
What's that?
She actually had it out.
You saw a knife in her hand?
Yes.
So police never found a knife on the victim. So, I mean, what do you say to that?
I don't know, to be completely honest. All I know is that they did run from the scene, so I wouldn't put it past them to hide a weapon or anything like that.
Now, Huff has no previous criminal history and pleaded not guilty to the murder charge. The medical examiner has not identified the victim yet, but her family did identify her for us as 33-year-old Erica Keenas. She lives behind a 9-year-old son. Well, it was definitely welcome news for many people last week. Masks no longer required in many settings as long as you are fully vaccinated. But what about children? Many are still too young to get vaccinated. So as more and more people start taking off the masks, what are the best practices for our families? Casey Decker took these questions to a local pediatrician tonight.
Fully vaccinated people are no longer required by the state to wear masks in public. That means 2 weeks after your first dose, you can go maskless unless a specific business asks you to keep it on. But kids ages 12 to 15 only recently became eligible for the Pfizer shot, meaning it'll be a few more weeks before they're fully vaccinated, and kids under the age of 12 still can't get a shot at all. The state says this means those kids do have to keep wearing masks in public, and a pediatrician we spoke with says that's definitely the safest course of action.
I think right now the best policy is, kids should continue to wear their masks. I think in order to model good behavior, parents should wear their masks too when they're out in those public situations. Kids do whatever their parents do for the most part, for good or for bad. And so if parents can model that good behavior, or even older siblings model that good behavior, it's going to be easier for the younger kids to do it.
There was some concern at the beginning of the pandemic that kids in particular would have trouble complying with mask requirements, but most research so far suggests that hasn't been the case.
What we've seen is the complete opposite. The kids have been great. They've been very, they're very black and white, very rule followers. And so they knew that they were supposed to wear their mask. Yeah, kids will do whatever they need to see friends and be around people. And truly that good modeling by parents or older siblings is key.
So even though the virus is usually milder with children, if you've got them, it's probably best for your whole family to stay masked up in public for the time being, whether or not you're vaccinated.
They tend to not get as sick, although some kids can get quite ill. And I feel like as a parent, even that very low percentage, if it's your kid, that's a lot.
Casey Decker, Creme 2 News.
And we are getting a lot of responses from you on our Zip Whip. We did ask you earlier, will you still be wearing your mask if you are fully vaccinated? Here's what some of you said. It seems like some of you say no, and then yes, I'll continue wearing my mask regardless of what happens. So it seems like it's kind of split 50-50 either way. You can still weigh in as well. Let us know by texting us at that number 509-448-2000. All right, turning now to a check on weather, a live look at Lake Coeur d'Alene right now. Doesn't it look beautiful with the light shining on the ruffling waters? I love that. So beautiful out there, but a cool down is definitely expected for us in the next coming days. But I know yesterday I had the worst sunburn because it was gorgeous out. I just had to lay out. It was gorgeous out there. But tell us about the cool down, Thomas.
Yeah, you're probably not the only one that got a healthy tan, albeit from this past weekend.
A red burn tan.
Yeah,
there you go.
A little bit. I'm one of those guys that has to use SPF 50 when it comes to days like that. But cooler weather now on the way, especially for tomorrow. In fact, the cold front's going to move through tonight. And if we're lucky, we might actually get some rain chances. And that's where I start with Doppler radar this evening. There are some very light radar returns between areas like Northport down towards Moses Lake. Looks like just a little bit of light rain did just move through Moses Lake. This can be rare at times, or at least it seems like it's rare at times to get some rain chances even into central Washington. We're going to hope for more of that. I think any rain chances are very small for tomorrow. I'll go mostly cloudy though, and what's going to be a windy day, but notice these temperatures not going to get much above 61, maybe 62 degrees for the afternoon. So much cooler tomorrow compared to where we were today. And the wind on top of that is going to make it feel perhaps just a little bit colder. Yeah, there's where we'll be across the board. Maybe a few upper 50s, especially for North Idaho. Those are the highs for tomorrow. And it will be windy on top of that. But hopefully the bigger story is going to be the return of some rain chances in what has been a very dry weather pattern. Not much though, if any, for some locations. So coming up, I'm going to be breaking down day by day how widespread or how scattered some of our rain chances will be throughout the course of this week. So make sure to tune in for that forecast in just a few.
Sounds good, Thomas. Thank you. Well, tonight at Spokane City Council, a new effort to get more people vaccinated. The council allocated $500,000 in federal stimulus money to give to the Spokane Fire Department for vaccine clinics at fire stations. The goal is to get shots directly into neighborhoods and increase the citywide vaccination rate.
The baton is now being passed to us here at the city. The federal government did what they could. The state government did. Now it's time for Spokane to take the baton and get us across the finish line. So I'm excited about partnering with the health department, partnering with the fire department.
And the move was passed unanimously by the council tonight. Looking ahead now to tomorrow, Kootenai County will hold a special election, and on the ballot is a public safety bond for the county's fire and rescue team. Other measures on the ballot include City of Hayden Lake budget increase questions and the Post Falls School District number 273 supplemental levy. You can watch our special election coverage tomorrow night right here on Creme 2. Today is tax day. It's the last day for Americans to file their 2020 income taxes with the IRS. The IRS delayed the deadline from April 15th to May 17th due to the pandemic. Taxpayers will face penalties and interest if they do not file their taxes by today. If you are not able to file your taxes by today's deadline, you can request an extension until October 15th. You can use the free file tool on the IRS's website, and the IRS says it is taking more than 21 days to issue refunds refunds for some 2020 tax returns due to a number of reasons, including errors. It is incomplete, affected by identity theft or fraud, or needs further review in general.